When you're feeling so down and out and so rock bottom, like to really feel like you're at war with your body, that I'm a victim. And now to recognize introducing a new food and to see how my body gives me feedback so quickly. I was so blissfully unaware whilst eating all of the things at like how many little signals my body tried to give me. And now they just come through thick and fast. Now I've got this deep reverence. I'm like, we are a union. Like, we get to do this together. And yes, sometimes you speak another language and it takes me a minute to figure out what you're saying. But when you're both on the same page, it's so beautiful to feel that, like, not only do I have her back, but she's got mine and that we're in this together.
Hello and welcome back to the You're Great podcast with your host Unique. I created the You're Great podcast to share healing stories because what I realized is that not everyone could identify with mine. Mine was a pretty severe coming back from rock bottom or beyond rock bottom with Crohn's disease, and a lot of women can identify with painful periods and endometriosis, but Crohn's disease can be this severe, life-threatening, life-changing diagnosis. And it was all of those things for me, except that I chose to seek out natural remission for myself and believe that it was possible. And I tried so many different protocols before I found myself on this well-balanced omnivore plan, which I call the Bean Protocol. What's interesting is that a lot of people will hear my story or read my book and they'll be like, oh, good for her. But when I was on my healing journey, if I would have heard my story or read my book, I would have went, holy shit, if it works for autoimmune Crohn's and endo, I want to do this. I don't care that I don't have endo or I don't have Crohn's. What an incredible way to eat if it can support that kind of healing. So it's really interesting because I get emails and text messages every day from people and they're like, is this right for me? Or is this safe while I'm pregnant or wanting to get pregnant? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you guys, it's a crazy world we live in when eating in a foundational way, which is what I consider this omnivore plan is foundational. It's like, get your protein, get your fiber, support your natural, amazing detox systems. Like, yes, Unique, can I do it with histamines and MCAS? Yes. Unique, can I do it while pregnant? Yes. Unique, I have this autoimmune condition or liver condition. Can I? Yes. This is food. Yes, I create protocols for healing that have more guidelines and medicinal doses of things like fiber to help with supporting detox systems. But there's nothing scary here. And I walk with my clients every step of the way, as you will hear in today's healing story. So Kat came to me having had a protocol from my mentor, and she, just having been a diet person, didn't really see herself staying on it long term, so was seeking out extra support. So she reached out to me, we started talking, and I started coaching her. And what you'll hear from her story is she came with eczema, histamine hives, like she would wake up at night scratching and itching so bad. Her immune system was shot. She was always getting sick and feeling unwell. You will hear this incredible transformation from high histamine, a laundry list of foods and food sensitivities of things she couldn't eat. But also she had a lot of confusion around what was causing all of her problems. So long story short, she's living her best life, feels empowered, is on protocol, but doesn't see it as a protocol, but as a lifestyle for her, and is so empowered, and it's just brings a smile to my face. And I would also like to add that I was looking probably 8 months ago. I was looking for a VA and a virtual assistant just for a couple hours a week to help with some scheduling things and coursework. And Kat put in her resume, and I'd spoken to a few people, and it was beautiful because she, having already worked with me, knew me, understood the power of the protocol, because by the time we started working together, she was already very well on her way to being in a wonderful, healthy state with her histamine issues and food intolerances. So we've been working together ever since. So if you are in my circle community or in one of my live 12-week courses, you will know Kat and you will know her story. I hope you enjoy our conversation. See you on the other side. Gosh, I was actually just reviewing our notes together, by the way, of when we started working together, and that was November 21st, 2023 was when we had our first call.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, absolutely. I remember it very well, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I was so desperate, and so just at my wit's end, I think, by the time I finally had a chat with you. So I was very ready for some change.
Oh, I felt that too when we connected. In the intake form, you were struggling with low iron after your daughter was born in 2018, and you started developing rashes. So for everybody listening at home, Kat and I had worked together. I had coached her. You got a Karen plan, right? Like, is that where you began? You got one of the Karen protocols?
Yeah, I did. I was laying in bed, couldn't do anything else. I was like, right, it's the right time. I'm gonna jump on and do some online learning. And that's where I first learned about it. Yeah, I suppose, about the process and the benefits of the beans. But just knowing me, I work so much better with one-on-one support. So I just knew I had to reach out to somebody else as well. And yeah, you were top of my list.
And Karen's just the best. Those courses, like I've taken those courses so many times over the years. Just, obviously having been on the protocol myself, a different one potentially than some people and other people, the same one. And like I was the white dieter who was like living on the white diet for a long time because of my autoimmune condition. But, it's like even having been on it all that time, and understanding it so well, I still go back to those courses, and I'm so happy that I own them. Before Karen put out the courses, she used to put out these DVDs, and I literally had a stack of her DVDs. And when our house burned down in the fires, lost all of the DVDs. And I was like, no, even though I'm like, I can't even remember the last time I looked at a DVD, but just like having them was like this assurance of some sort of like, I have it. I have that.
Yeah, in your back pocket, and especially in such a time of need. And I remember I bought two, so my skin was like, I suppose, the biggest driver for me at the time. But I also bought just the general health well-being
Mm-hmm.
one as well. And so I'm so glad I started there, because she's so infectious with the way that she delivers things. And I am not a science person. In fact, I'm afraid of science, to be honest, because my brain just doesn't work like that. And I know she can definitely go there, but she does simplify things a lot. And I found it really digestible. So that was a really good starting place. So I think her enthusiasm and passion, combined with, it was kind of common, well, probably not common sense, but it made sense what she was sharing. I was like, okay, we're onto something here. I'm going to give this a go.
And it turns out common sense isn't so common anyway. So,
Absolutely. Yes.
so you booked in and you were like anemia, eczema, food sensitivities, immune system. You got sick all the time. Periods were heavy, and you had some PMS, no cramps, and no tender breasts, but just like felt heavy and tired is what I have down. And that your gut was better since you were on protocol, but you'd always been more constipated. Does that all sound about right?
Yeah, I remember 2023. I was keeping a diary at the time. I was sick for more weeks in that year than I was well. So yeah, I was at my breaking point. But it was interesting to hear actually about my periods, because maybe at that point in time, they weren't painful, but I definitely, in my teenage years and in my adult years up until that point, they were debilitating. Like I would have to resort to pain relief.
You said
Yeah.
they were super heavy. That was
Yes.
the thing that was like the main thing for you at the time. You didn't mention any cramping at the time, just like really heavy, which made sense for being anemic, right? Of like losing all that blood because it was quite substantial at the time. And I remember also the thing that stood out to me because you were like, I really want to do this, but I have my past of being kind of like a dieter and more dysfunctional with food. And so I guess just tell me the journey. How did you find Karen and then how did you find me? And what was like the calling to get on the protocol?
I guess like so many others that I've heard on your podcast, TBM kind of really, yeah, was where it all started for me. Just hearing about Lacey's experience and just I love to listen to podcasts. So I guess I was expanded in that sense, but I never necessarily felt at the time when I listened to you on TBM or even Karen that that would actually relate to me. I was just yeah, okay, these are really interesting to listen to. But I think, like I said, in 2023, I was very, very leveraged. So I was very sick and it was impacting like not only my ability to work, but my ability to parent. We've got my daughter's currently 6 and I was just not able to show up and parent the way that I wanted to be parenting for her. But prior to that, I remember getting on that call with you and I had so much fear around, especially since doing Karen's course and hearing about all of the things that she recommended that we steer clear of. I was like, oh my, I don't think well, actually, no, here's the thing. I knew I could do it, but I thought I could maybe do it for about 3 months. And then I'd be like, okay, then what's going to happen? Because history has not yeah, I guess just in the past, I've been really committed. Well, I've been really committed, and then I've been really uncommitted, and as a result, my body and my health has really, really suffered. So I was really fearful of that. And to be honest, like I'm so grateful. I didn't do it intentionally, but I was very leveraged with my skin. So I had been taking photos and I was very meticulous around writing my symptoms and keeping a daily tracker just in the notes section on my phone. And so I'm not sure if it's a combination of that and actually having visual proof of like, wow, this is really making a difference that kept going with it. And then I suppose I can't even recall exactly when I started feeling better in my skin. But I remember at the time I was working a very, very physical job where I was going in and styling properties. And I remember my daughter was in daycare at the time, and I would go to work and then I would come home because we had the luxury of her being in daycare, you know, extended hours than school hours. I would come home and I'd have a nap, and I would need to have a nap before I picked her up. And then before I knew it, I was like, wow, I don't need naps anymore. And then before I knew it, I was like, after my work, I'm actually going to go for a walk. Like, who am I? And so I don't know. I guess it probably has happened in lots of little minor, like baby steps. But I think knowing for me, I'm very visual. So having that visual cue of the progress was huge for me. And I don't even think that was one of your questions, but that's kind of how I suppose, got around to starting with you. And I think it was just more an intuitive knowing. It was just like my intuition is really, really loud and clear. I've always lived and operated. Well, I haven't actually always, but I think since probably about the age of 27, I've been following kind of the guidance that I'm given that way. And so I said yes. And obviously having you in my back pocket was so helpful because we made so many little tweaks. And if it wasn't for those, I would have absolutely thrown the baby out with the bathwater and not continued.
Understandable too, by the way. Like it's having support and somebody who understands the process and what you're going through can be invaluable to the process of healing because we did make a lot of little tweaks and then you would go off and do them and then give me feedback of like, oh yeah, this is better, or oh yeah, I am sleeping better and I'm not, because you at one point were itching all night long with your skin and you were like, I wake up in these kind of itching flares and it's struggling to sleep. And so we really had to like take things out and how does that feel? And you were incredibly patient and present to the process, which was remarkable because I think it's hard to be that present to the process, but you were highly motivated. Your skin was highly motivating you.
Yeah, very much. I can still remember it now. And yeah, I think it was a big enough of a wake up call that it like, I mean, here we are. What are we, 20th of June? It's like 18, 19 months on. And I get up and I chop up my veggies in the kitchen and I'm making my beans and I'm like, who am I? Like, really, who am I? Like, past versions of myself would have yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's unbelievable. But just how much life has changed. And I can't imagine feeling, I just can't imagine going back now. Like it's just, it has changed every aspect of my life
Mm.
for the better, for the better.
Say more about that. Like, like, do you feel like you have changed? And I mean, the clients of mine who, and including myself, by the way, who really thrive on protocol and stay with it in many iterations over time, it's almost like there's an identity shift of how we relate to our bodies and our health and wellness. Like, what happened for you along the path?
Well, I think the main difference, like, so I've never really learnt about nutrition, to be honest, and I've had a very, I would say, fair to say, dysfunctional relationship with my body, with food over the years, just from all the societal programming and all the messages that we pick up. And so I have spent decades of my life trying to berate my body into looking a certain way. And there are times where, you know, like my body has changed so much over the years. It's looked, you know, lean and thin, but not necessarily been healthy. And then I've been the complete opposite end of the spectrum as well. I guess that's one of the things that's been a really surprising side effect of this, because it was definitely not my intention. My intention was to get well and to stop being sick, really. But now it's all about health. And in that process, like I'm literally over half my body size. Like I don't know what I remember you asking on our intake form, like what I weighed, and I didn't know, but I knew I was wearing size 22 clothing. I'm wearing like size 8, size 10 now. Like, and it's funny because, you know, you speak to 20-year-old Kat, and that would have been my motivation. That's why I would have sought you out, because I'm like, oh, it's going to give me the weight loss. Whereas now it has actually, I don't want to say it's not there a little bit, because it's always probably going to be there just because of the messaging that we're always picking up on and receiving from society, and just it's just our culture. But now I've never felt so vital. I've never had so much confidence in my ability to stick with something and look after myself and take care of myself. And it's coming from a genuine place of self-love now. It's like and not only that, I've got the key fundamentals. Like I understand what my body needs to thrive. Like I don't know why I would entertain messing with that, you know? I didn't know I could probably feel this good. And it's not just like having energy to, you know, do day-to-day things, but generally speaking, like clarity of thought and patience and presence. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's infiltrated every area of my life now. And then to just be able to, I don't know, after a meal or at any stage in the day, you know, to have an opportunity present. Like my daughter might say, "Can we go and have a jump on the trampoline?" And I can instantly say yes, even if I've typically just had a meal, because I'm not feeling like, oh my God, I need to go and have like I'm in a food coma or something. I don't know. I just get to say yes to life now when life comes a knocking, and I don't have to hit pause, whether it be for 20 minutes, 2 hours, 3 weeks, whatever it is. It's like I'm available for life now, and it feels remarkable.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Stop it. Can we bottle that and give everybody a sip of it? Because I think it's, as women, you know, we have this conception in life of like, if somebody looks healthy, they are healthy, right? And reality is, to build health, we show up for that. And then our body kind of reflects our health choices, right? Versus anything. And just the fact that you came in to heal, and now you're embracing this whole new way of life and understanding what it feels like to feel great. And then the body follows suit is just kind of, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I wish we could
It is.
bottle it and sell it to everybody. Just like, here, actually, we can eat your beans. No.
Well, you can, but do you know, it's funny. I wouldn't have been open to this, I don't think, if I hadn't have been as rock bottom as I was. I
Right.
wasn't ready, and my mindset and maybe just low self-worth. I'm not really sure how it's all very interconnected, I guess. I just probably wouldn't have realized this was possible, and I probably would have tried to reverse engineer it all. Like, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to try and trick my body that I'm here for health, but I'm really here for weight loss. Or I don't know, I was just so, like I said, desperate and depleted that I'm like, okay, I don't give a crap about the weight loss. Like, I just want to feel like a human being again. I was very leveraged, and I wish, no, I don't wish it didn't happen, but I can appreciate that everyone's on their own timelines, and I'm not sure if I would be here, and I don't know if I would have met you had I not gone through that. But I'm very grateful that I have.
Yeah, it's turning difficult situations into opportunities to learn and grow. And that is a certain mindset where life is always going to throw us little curveballs, and it's always going to give us opportunities to test our resolve. How committed to your health are you, and how dedicated are you? I think it does that so we get to affirm to ourselves, like, yeah, this is so, your motivation was you were rock bottom, you weren't comfortable in your body, the rashes, the food sensitivities, and just the list of complaints were stacking up, and that was the catalyst. But now that you feel this good, what I hear from you is, why would you ever go back to feeling any other way when you get to say yes to life? It's why I think of the way I eat and the way I show up for myself. That's my prescription
Mhm.
to stay well. And my
Yeah.
prescription is the way I nourish and the way I move and the way I sleep and prioritize these things.
I remember as well another piece of it. So not only was I afraid that I wouldn't be able to stick with it, I was afraid of the impact that it was going to have on my relationships because, you know, in life, I guess so many times we celebrate, like, food is just a part of everything. And it's a big way that my partner and I used to bond and connect. And I used to get so much joy from going out to cafes and going out for brunches, and just, I don't know, I just got so much joy from food and all of the activities and the just the connection that came along with it. And so knowing that last year I was turning 40, there was just a lot of big milestones happening, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to go, and I was really afraid of it. And it's been so fascinating to one unpack that, and I definitely had your support with that because, like, you've been going strong for what, 12 years now. It's like you've had a lot of practice at doing this. But it's been so fascinating to notice that I thought I would feel like I was being restricted and that I was missing out and that my relationships would be compromised, but it's not been that at all. Well, one, I'm actually been so surprised. I haven't felt like I've been deprived of anything,
Mm.
probably because I'm actually for the first time giving my body actual proper nourishment. So I'm like, I don't really have cravings, and if I do, I'm like, okay, is this really a food craving or is this something beyond the food, which it 99% of the time is beyond the food. But not only that, I recognized that when I was going out for these brunches or with family gatherings, it was never about the food. It was about the connection that I had when I was there. And I can still be connecting with those people the same way. Yes, we're not bonding over what the flavor of the cheesecake is, but we can still bond and connect, in other areas of life. And now I just don't get the sore stomach or the sugar high or low afterwards. And I think for a little while, I was really worried about what they would also think, and would I be a real inconvenience, like going out and like, oh, cat can't have this or cat can't go there, or what are we going to do? But now that I'm, I feel like I'm on what do you call it? Not a healing, like on longevity plan now. I know now how to make smart choices when I'm out, which has been nice to be able still to choose to do that. But I think also I'm like, it's become a non-event. Like, I just take my meal with me. I'm like, well, I would have cooked it at home anyway. It can just come with me if I'm going somewhere. Or, yeah. And I think I know people still look at me in the family and think, like, oh, poor cat, she can't have this and she can't have that. But I'm like, No, I don't want it. Like, I don't feel sorry for me. I feel sorry for you. So yeah, it's just funny how it's changed, but those fears were very real. And I don't think you can kind of bypass them, but it's been very liberating to come out the other side and be like, wow, actually, it's like strengthened definitely my connection to myself
Mhm.
and what I can do, but also with others. Yeah, I'm not prepared to sacrifice my own health and well-being just to make others potentially feel comfortable,
Yeah, good
you
for
know?
you. Good for you. I am curious. So, with being able to go out and go to places and make good choices, how is that for you? Are you, because I have something to say about that in a minute, because I've been on a longevity plan for a while. So it's nice, it's easy that, if we get caught without something prepared, like, oh, there are healthy places that we can go and get what I want to eat. But I'm curious, knowing that you can go out and eat and your body is fine and you don't get rashes or anything like that, is that also that freedom really nice?
It is. I think I definitely went through a phase in there where I actually got a bit frustrated. I'm like, wow, I actually prefer what I'm cooking at home for myself than like and I'm paying you like triple the amount of money to sit down and have a meal that I'm like, okay, like this is okay. So that was really interesting to observe. And now, yeah, I don't know. I just think I've just found that I'm getting joy in so many other places that I'm like, if I've got extra funds and I'm looking to connect with someone, I'm going to find another way to do it now,
Yeah.
versus going out for a meal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My kind of people are like, let's go for a walk. Let's go for a hike. Let's go to let's do something together. I'm a walker and talker. I love to walk and talk. I'm so with you. And it's so funny because the other day I was saying to my husband, I was like, I would rather eat home food 99.9% of the time. That is my preference. There's love in it, there's intention in it. So I think it really is just, it's hard to not eat home food. It really is. Somebody said, like, what do you pack when you go on vacation? I'm like, if I can, I'll bring my Instant Pot.
I love that. I still don't have me an Instant Pot. I think I've shared with you, like, I am very basic. Like, I'm still doing canned beans, the BPA free, and I get organic and things like that. But yeah, mine is still a very, very simple setup. And who knows, I may or may not get to the Instant Pot. I see your recipes, I see what you're making. And now that I'm introducing a few more things into my diet, that sounds like fun. But it's nice to not have it like I don't know if you've ever done this, but I know back in the day when I was like going through a get fit phase, you had to go and have the new shoes before you could work out. Or I don't know, if this was a new diet, I had to buy the Instant Pot before I could start it. And now it's like, well, I don't need anything else. So if I add it in, that's okay. But it's just nice to be in a place where we don't have to wait anymore, or we put these practices or these items on pedestals. It's like that one thing's going to make all the difference. And for some, it may, if you love cooking and all of those things, but I don't actually love it like I do it. So it's like, okay, my canned beans are fine. And sometimes I've got my frozen veggie pack that I put in the microwave even. Like I don't do that all the time, but it's like, well, it's still working and I'm still thriving,
And
So
you're
it's nice.
healing. You are
Yeah.
healing. And I tell people this all the time. What you're bringing up not only makes sense, it's important to talk about because everybody's looking at me and they're like, me today, 12 years later on the protocol, I'm using an Instant Pot. I'm cooking things. I'm making recipes. And me, the first probably 5 years, canned beans, frozen vegetables. They're pre-chopped and cleaned, you guys. You don't
Mhm.
do work. Thank you very much. When you're tired and you have a young kids or a young child in the house and your health isn't great and you're working, you're looking to how can I be the healthiest and do it the quickest. I'm telling you, it's the good stuff. And the fact that you can heal eating basic, as you put it, it's anything but basic. It's with intention, it's with love, it's with care. And who cares if it's out of a can or frozen vegetable? I think in the health world, it's so precious. And what I love about this protocol is it's not precious.
Mhm.
Not in that way, anyway. It's more like eat your protein, get your veggies, get your beans, get your healthy fats. It's precious in the sense of like building blocks of great health, but it's not in the sense of like, oh my God, you need to like go to the farmer's market and get your stuff and get the Instant Pot. It's like, no, this is me now. This is me in another iteration of the protocol. First iteration was, how can I get the soluble fiber and the protein and the things I need in? How can I get them in? Because I'm tired and I don't have time.
It's been actually it's been really liberating because I remember like I've kind of always worked, I suppose, in kind of health world where I've been surrounded by particularly like gyms and things. So you see the guys eating their broccoli and their chicken. And I remember like actually like on a number of occasions having the thought, I could never, ever do that. And then I look at what I'm eating now and I'm like, oh my God, that I'm basically you reincarnated right now. But I used to think that I would get so sick of just eating a few things on rotation. And I cannot tell you how surprised I was. It's actually been so liberating. Like when I think of, I suppose, life admin things that used to really frustrate me or just I would find boring to tears, it was always menu planning and shopping. And now I just don't have to think about it. Like I know there's kind of three means that work well for me, and I just don't have to think. It's like, okay, do I want broccoli or do I want some carrot and sweet potato for breakfast? Like it's that simple. And I love it. Like it's delicious. And I can't believe that salt and pepper are so underrated, but they are just the bomb. So yeah, it has surprised me so much. And I still continuously am finding myself being surprised by just random things here and there. And I'm like, wow, like simple is like queen. I'm such a
Simple.
fan.
Yeah. And you get to taste your food. And there's no decision fatigue of like, what am I going to eat? What do you want for dinner? Now it's just more like which bean, like which vegetable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. Yeah, it's funny. My partner's been like watching me over obviously the last 18 months. And it's like, can I have a bit of that? Can I have a bit of that? So it's funny. I do get even asked by friends and things like, what does that look like from a family perspective? And for the most part, it's just me. It's just me doing this. I'm in a relationship with an Italian who loves all his lasagna, who like he's got a very different metabolism to me and just loves food. And there is nothing going to change that. And so I just let him be him and I just do me. And yeah, he's definitely been eating more beans, probably because he doesn't like cooking either. And he's like, well, if there's double of that, I'll just eat that. But I'm like, okay, that works. And my daughter who's 6, she's very fussy. And I've decided to just rather than making mealtime stressful and like just force things on her that like you're witnessing. I'm being a role model. I'm showing you how I care for myself. And hopefully she's absorbing all of that. I just trust that that is the case. She's definitely not malnourished and she's definitely thriving. Would I like her to be eating more beans and veggies? Absolutely. But she's 6 and yeah,
Yeah.
I want that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so feeling you right now. It's better not to make anything a war and just to continue to take care of yourself and allow that to be in the space, but also allow her individuality to be in the space. I mean, and what I hear from you is actually really beautiful and not an easy place to get to. And you can tell me where I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing is that you're so enamored with taking care of yourself that there isn't judgment of how others take care of themselves, because the reality is what you're doing works for you and that's good enough for you. And if they don't do it, that's fine. That's okay. No skin off your nose.
Yeah, yeah. There is that. There is a part of me sometimes it's like, oh gosh, like you obviously want the best for those that
Yeah.
you love and care for. So I'm like, and it was interesting. I know we were just messaging this morning because actually this week I've been feeling probably not as energetic and clear-minded as I have probably for the last 18 months. And I was like, and I've, onto my Whoop and I'm like, what is with this yellow recovery? And you made a really good point because my daughter and my partner have had germs for the last 2 weeks. I've been rock solid. Like haven't been perplexed, but I'm like, wow. And it felt so empowering to think that like, maybe this is me getting sick and maybe it is just my body saying, okay, let's just not push it too hard, in terms of going for walks and things like that. So that felt really amazing to think that, oh my God, how far we've come. I've gone from being sick more weeks in the year than well to touch wood. And it's not like I don't see that as a badge of honor. Just I know I will get germs. Like I'm not expecting to be immune to germs. Like that's okay. I'm human. But it's a night and day difference to not being able to function to like, wow, like, okay, I'm just going to have some extra hot water. I'm going to have some more protein. I'm going to have some Epsom baths and I'm going to get to bed early. Like, wow. Like it's, yeah, it's just a whole new way of looking at life.
Yeah, and it's why it's important to have community as well, because you could reach out to me and be like, hey, I haven't been feeling that great in these yellow recoveries. And, looking at your notes of like getting sick all the time, that was one of your things. And I remember it was like January of 2024, because the first thing I'd always start with was what's better, for you, since you were working on some pretty big things that were really bothering you in the skin and was persistent and the allergens and the histamine response. And one of the first things you told me was, my body temperature has increased. I feel warmer. Like you were freezing all of the time. And you were starting to feel kind of like a better adjustment in your body, your metabolism, in your system, that you were like not cold all the time. And it's fun because when I go through our notes, I get to see what's improved and then what's not improved. Okay, you're increasing water, you're not having a probiotic, and like it's just interesting to go through the notes of like what's good, what are you still working on. It's really cool to think that you're not getting every cold that's coming, every set of germs that's coming your way, and that
Yeah.
maybe your body just down regulates. It's interesting too, having the whoop, because I'll go through periods while I don't get sick anymore. I just get yellow recoveries, which is the other reason why, I think I understand what's going on here. Is anybody sick in your life? I will say, I'm going to say this. If I get a yellow recovery and I feel phenomenal, sometimes those are days that I still go for walks. And I'm like, you know what? I want my sunrise. I'm going for that walk because I feel great. If I didn't feel great, I wouldn't. But there's sometimes where I'm like, yellow recovery, whatever. Like I feel amazing.
Yeah.
So there's that
I
too.
feel like too. Yeah, I'm sometimes like, hang on, are you sure? Or sometimes it'll tell me that I've had like the most phenomenal sleep and I'll feel like I need to walk around with toothpicks. I'm like, how does that work? And I must have just woken in the middle of a deep cycle or something.
You're not wrong. I had that just today where I woke up and I was sure I was going to be in a yellow recovery in Whoop. And it was like in the green. And I was like, shut up. Shut up. That I was like, ah.
Do you know what? It reminds me of something that I think is worth really sharing here, is that for that first year, I remember like, and my mind was so adamant that as I started feeling better, that like, right, I'm gonna go to the gym now and I'm gonna start moving my body. But I basically did nothing. Like I did have a physical job, admittedly, but I wasn't even really going for walks. And it took a lot. Like I remember on a couple of occasions where I was like, no, I'm ready. I'm going to start the gym. And then I'd be back on my butt again, back in bed sick. And I remember going to these local yoga classes, and they were yin yoga. So they were pretty gentle and restorative as it was. But I would be the only one in there. And oh, sorry, like there'd be others in there, but I would be the only one who just basically said, I just need to lay here in Shavasana. And so everyone else around me is doing poses and I'm just there like a broccoli. And I did that for about 12 months. And so I don't know, I think there's a lot to be said for that as well. And that actually, I feel like took more willpower to not go and do what, you would probably typically do when you're starting to feel a bit better, and just trust that like, actually, no, my body's letting me know that whilst my mind's saying we're ready for something a bit more challenging, my body's not. We're still needing rest. So that was really surprising. And I remember some of my friends even saying like, what are you doing? Because it was pretty noticeable with the weight loss. Like, what have you been doing? I'm like from an exercise perspective, I'm like, they fell over and I'm like, I'm doing nothing. Like I'm literally doing nothing right now. And it was all, nourishment and nutrition.
I was going to ask about like your partner, your friends, your family, how have they witnessed you in this health journey?
The weight loss, it was undeniable when my clothes are literally falling off of me. And it did happen quite quickly, actually. Probably in about 4 to 5 months, I was about half my size. So it was pretty rapid. So initially I was getting like, and again, it's something, I don't know, maybe a conversation for another day, but like I found it a little bit perplexing and a bit triggering at the time when, in theory, it sounds like a really lovely thing to hear, like, wow, you're looking so great. But it's got this, there's a message beneath that is like, well, almost like you're only as good as how thin you are, or you know what I mean? Like there's this messaging that you're not, you weren't okay before. You look great now, which means you weren't okay before. And so, yeah, it's really changed how I've had those conversations. Or even when I'm commenting on others now, I find myself commenting on non-tangible or non-physical things. It's like, wow, your energy is really infectious today, or something like that, rather than talking about how someone looks. So, but initially I was getting, yeah, people were asking what I was doing. And I was noticing again, it was coming from this place of, wow, I want what she's got for myself. It's again this wanting to change how they looked. And then from family, they were very aware. And I was very fortunate that my skin condition, which I do have photos of, were pretty much hidden. Like it was on my back, it was kind of here, but I could kind of hide that even under my armpits. So it wasn't so noticeable to the everyday person, but my family were very aware of it. And they're very mindful of, what can you eat, what can't you eat, and lots of things like that. It hasn't like had any, I wouldn't say far-reaching ripple effects. Maybe with friends. I've had a few friends that have kind of been very curious and I think started to explore this kind of lifestyle for themselves now. But in terms of family, they're accepting. No one like turns up their nose at me bringing my own meals or anything like that. So I suppose all in all, I've had a lot of support, but I am surprised maybe somewhat to think that, especially by those in my immediate surroundings, like they've seen the transformation and it's been so drastic, not on a physical level, but like on a health and well-being level. I'm surprised they haven't been more interested in it, to be honest. But everyone's on their own journey. And I guess as well, like I said at the beginning, I was very leveraged. If I wasn't aware of me having issues eating certain food and it impacting my skin and my energy levels as much as it did, I'd probably still be eating my pizza too, Like, yeah, it's very interesting.
I get that. I get the whole thing of like, a lot of people don't change the way they eat unless there's a health issue. And I would probably say that I'm guilty of that too. It really took Crohn's disease to set me off on a different course. I also think that life give us opportunities to learn and change and grow, and we can deny them and we can turn away from them. And I wanted to, like I did. Until I got the diagnosis, I wanted to keep being my normal self and keeping my identities in place of being a foodie or this or whatever. My condition came along and it gave me an opportunity, not one that I wanted. It was like, I don't want this. I want to keep living. My nickname was Tequila Unique. I mean, who wants to change? It's like, so I wasn't looking for a catalyst. The catalyst came to me, and I either had the opportunity to change and grow and dig in and do the work or deny it. And what's interesting is I get to see the people who keep trying to live a normal life with conditions, and it doesn't work out very well. And I think if anything, I feel really blessed that I not only got the catalyst, but I hung in there, because it was 3 years on the journey before I found Karen. So I was suffering and my girls were young, and I kept being really stubborn about like, I want to do this naturally. I don't want to take the medications. I'm glad they're there if I need them, but I really want to do this natural. And I was stubborn about it. And it was like the last person I found, and that was Karen. And it just changed the course of my life. And I get to meet wonderful people like you and work and support wonderful people like you that get to a place where you're like, I want this change. And it's not just a change of diet, as you have talked about so eloquently today. It's a change of how we relate to ourselves. And it's okay to have a dash of vanity and want to look good. As good as we feel, that how good we feel on the inside is reflected on the outside. And I don't think that there's any shame in that and wanting that. And so the fact for me that I can eat really well and feel great and have a robust immune system and have incredible energy and work out and like the way I look, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I know that's something that we've spoken, with my sessions with you as well, because I felt like an inner conflict around that. But you said that so eloquently. And like, why wouldn't you want your outsides to reflect how amazing you feel on the inside, especially when you've experienced the opposite of that? It's like, wow, like I really don't take this for granted. So yeah, I think that's really important conversation. And the other thing as well that's so, I think, refreshing about this approach, because prior to working with you, I had worked with multiple naturopaths, and I've spent hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of dollars on all of the supplements and all of the things. And well, not only is that, do I find that confusing when you like get thrown, okay, like here's 10 different things. I mean, they're all, going to work in a slightly different way and work on a different thing. But I'm like, well, if I'm doing them all at once, how am I possibly going to know what's doing what? But it cost a fortune. And that's not why I chose to work with you. But just hearing your approach to whole foods, and that like in fact, like it's not that you're anti supplements, but if we can create health and well-being without them, you're definitely pro that and know that it's possible. And it was interesting because constipation was a huge part of my journey, and that probably was the hardest thing for me, actually, like being that uncomfortable on a daily basis for quite some time until we got quite the right quantities of things. But I remember we did try in there a supplement, and even just I remember coming back to you, and like I've still got the jar there now. I'm like, I've probably only had about four, but my body's saying no. Like, we don't, I believe that if there's a reason, if my body is not feeling safe enough to eliminate, I don't want to force it to do that. And yeah, I think that's really refreshing as well, because in this day and age where we focus on quick fixes, and the health world can be very pricey, this is so affordable and cost effective. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I needed to say that as well.
I am with you. I mean, as you said, well, I'm not anti supplements. In fact, I suggest them when I think that they could possibly be beneficial to bridging a gap between two places to make somebody comfortable, or if somebody's working really hard to bring up their iron and their iron isn't coming up, then I'll look at a supplement. There are circumstances where supplements are the tool for the job. It's just not wanting my clients to sit on them, really wanting them to be educated on how to nourish properly, because so many of the things that we eat deplete, right? So it's like, oh, I'm going to eat this, but it's depleting nutrients, or I'm going to drink this and it's depleting nutrients. So it's really understanding how to build that castle of health, and, the importance of good nutrition. So it's like, it's understanding all the tools, and I like understanding how to use them. I just would rather spend my time empowering you so that you feel confident wherever you go. You're looking through the lens of how to nourish yourself well and take care of yourself well, so that you can continue to thrive and say yes to life, and let's go trampolining, and let's go for a walk, whatever it is that's going to light you up, or have the energy for a project that you want to do. To me, that's the beauty of this. It's like, I have everything I need. Should I be okay with that?
It's been so surprising to me as well. I think and I'm sure you could relate to this, when you're feeling so down and out and so rock bottom, like to really feel like you're at war with your body and feel like that your body's doing something to you, that I'm a victim here in this body that I'm in. And now to recognize, like, gosh, even if I am introducing a new food and just playing around, and to see how, like, my body gives me feedback so quickly. And I'm like, wow, like I was so unaware before, blissfully unaware whilst eating all of the things at like how many little signals my body tried to give me. And now they just come through thick and fast. I'm like, gosh, it's like now I've got this deep reverence. I'm like, we are a union. Like, we get to do this together. And yes, sometimes you speak another language and it takes me a minute to figure out what you're saying. But when you're both on the same page, it's so, oh, I don't know, it's so beautiful to feel that, like, not only do I have her back, but she's got mine, and that we're in this together. Yeah, it's that relationship has changed a full 180.
And it's going to keep changing too. I know that you're still kind of in re-entry phase with all of the allergens and like feeling that whole thing out. I was just talking to Karen and she was just saying, and this is an experience I've had as well. Like I've had a lot of celiac clients over the years and who can't eat out because of cross-contamination with gluten. And after being on protocol, they can eat out again because their gut is beginning to heal. The villi is beginning to heal. So as someone who is on that path of like re-entry and nourishment and playing around with food and being in conversation with your body and learning about her is like, it's just going to keep changing as you continue to heal. I couldn't eat eggs for a while. I don't even know if I told you that, but I couldn't eat eggs for a while. And I couldn't eat gluten for a while. And at different times, like I could eat eggs and then I couldn't eat eggs and then I could eat gluten and then I couldn't eat gluten. And it was kind of like this really confusing road. And now I can eat everything. And it's funny, the moment I realize that I can eat everything is also the moment I realize that there's so many things I don't want to eat.
Oh, it's always the way though.
But it's having the ability to eat it.
Choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, well, I get to choose this rather than being told what I can and can't have, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's humbling when your body is the one who's putting the full stop there. Like, nope, not going to happen. And you're like, you're either going to listen and respect it and go, okay, I'm going to try another time and see how the healing is going. But that's what I did. I didn't even eat raw food for 2 years, probably longer, probably 3 years. I didn't eat raw food because I was just like, I'm so scared of raw food now because it's so hard to digest. And I didn't eat dairy. I still don't like, I'm fine with dairy. It's funny. I just am not a dairy person. And I'm married to the biggest dairy person. He's like, give me cheese, give me milk. And I'm like,
all the things.
all the
I think
things.
that's one thing though, and I won't lie, I'm not sure if I shared with you, but I did just this past week introduce some sourdough again. And I won't lie, like seeing all the things that you're eating and knowing that clearly our palates are very similar now, I'm like, oh, I get so inspired by that to know that, you know what, it's taken a hot minute. And hearing you share time and time again, you were on a healing plan for 5 years. I'm like, gosh, and like 5 years in the scheme of things is nothing, but I think that's important as well because I do get excited by those.
Yeah,
By
and you
those things.
should like try
Yeah.
the piece of sourdough. The thing I tell my clients is like when adding something in that is a past allergen, put it on a rotation where it comes in. Because the great thing about sourdough is you can cut it and freeze it, which is what I do. I don't eat sourdough every day, but is to put things on rotation so that you're not eating them every day out of nowhere. It's like, oh, Monday I'm going to have eggs and then I'll wait again till Wednesday or Thursday to have them again. And it's like you rotate things in and out. And for the longest time, I had to do that. And it wasn't Karen that told me to do that. It just was like what I noticed as I started to enter foods in. I was like, whoa, that's going right through me. Okay, I'm not going to eat that right now. It was like this intuition connection of like, I have a lot of allergies. And I mean, I had so many allergies that the allergist that I saw would put the allergen in a tube. And I used to do drops of the tube of the allergen to start like trying to acclimate my body to the allergens because I was just covered in hives. And I ultimately stopped doing that when I got on protocol because what I noticed is that things were just starting to drop off that list over time where I'm like, oh, I can actually eat this, a little bit of this, and I can eat a little bit of that. And I'm, like I said, I'm kind of at the place where I can eat anything. So where are you at? Like, in your journey of health, where do you feel like, are there things that are still lagging behind, or what's your kind of current state? Where do you feel like you are as like 1 to 10, 10 being totally healed?
I would say that I'm at a 10, to be honest. But what's happened now is that I'm like, wow, I didn't know this was possible. And I'm like, if this is possible, I want to go to the next level. And so compared to where I was, absolutely night and day different. Like all of my skin has healed. Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolute night and day difference. Constipation's gone, PMS, like all of those symptoms have just disappeared. In terms of what's next, I think it's just building a really vital, strong, healthy body. And I think, yeah, I think I might have said to you at one point, I'm like, right, we're at like 3.0 version Cat now. Like and I'm so inspired by the lifestyle and things that you live as well. So now I'm reintroducing, I suppose it's coming more from a preventative place now. I'm not reacting to anything now. It's like, right, I want to be on the front foot with things. I am of an age. I've got, friends that are kind of either in the perimenopause, even menopause phase. Like I'm just nearly 41. So I'm kind of just entering potentially the beginning of some of those things. So I'm in conversations where I'm very aware of some of the changes that could be happening. So I'm really wanting to look after my body and preserve it. And I want to, like, I just have this feeling that I'm going to be here for a very long time. Like I see myself being here into my early hundreds. And so I don't want to be, if I'm going to be here, I want to be here for a good time. And I want to be able to do what I want to be able to do. I don't want to be spending 30 of those years, wishing I wasn't here. So yeah, it's more now being on the front foot, making sure I'm looking after my bones and, doing some of those weighted workouts and yeah, just playing around with what's possible. I don't think I've ever got I've never had this level of health before. And to think that I'm the oldest I've ever been and yet I feel like I'm the most healthiest, the most robust and most I don't know, I have so much respect for myself that it's not at all costs. Like, yes, I believe it's possible to create a really strong, vital body, but I'm not doing it and I'm not compromising any areas of my health and well-being on the way. So if that means the slow boat to China, that's what we're taking. And yeah, you get to enjoy the journey. Yeah.
It's like, it's phenomenal. You sound empowered. You sound energized, even though I know you've had your yellows this week. Like you sound lit. You sound lit from within. You sound like confident and centered and empowered and in yourself and in conversation with yourself. And I would imagine that only has given you much greater capacity as a mother and a friend and a partner and, for everything that you're doing. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Well, and the other thing is this far surpasses health, like the ripple effects. I mean, you mentioned that we're working together. Like that, like every aspect of my life has been touched by this. Like I am so grateful that I get to serve and support you and your business, knowing the impact that you've not only had on me, but that you have on everyone I hear and see in your community. Like, so like the fulfillment and the level of just joy I get from that alone. And that's one little aspect. Like that's rippling through every area of my life to the friendships that I now have and, the people that am meeting because I'm doing different activities and every area of my life has been touched by this journey, and it's so exciting and so lovely to be in a place where you just feel lit up and you have the capacity to show up in the ways that you want to each day.
Well, it's been an honor to support your health journey, and it's a privilege that I get to work with you. And there's not a day that goes by that I'm not thankful for your support and for you being able to support me in return in the way that you have. You're so good at giving that support as well. So I just want to reflect that back to you and the appreciation that I have for you and for the work that you do and also for your dedication, because the thing that stood out to me when we started working together, on the protocol was like, you weren't sure you were going to stay with it. And I just remember going like, yeah, just one day today, like we'll just keep showing up, and here you are, what did you say, 18 months later or something? And you're still with it, and you're not with it, you're empowered, and you've transformed it from healing to thriving. And I think that transition is not one that everybody makes. You are special because you continue to show up for yourself and continue to transition with it, and embrace it and take it on as you, versus like, oh, I'm doing this plan. It's like, no, this is your lifestyle now. And it's huge. That's huge. I just want you to know that's huge. I coach hundreds of people, and that transition is the hardest one, from creating your health and continuing versus creating your health and reverting. A lot of people live Groundhog's Day, where they heal, revert, heal, revert.
I have experienced that many times before, and I just, oh my God, if there's anyone who's kind of been peddling that, I just want you to know that like life, it may even be too big, but like life can just feel so different. Like there is not a day that I get up and feel like that this is a struggle, that this is an effort. Like I don't have to trick myself into staying on the protocol or force myself. Like this is just, I choose this every single day. It would be much easier on paper to go and just eat any old random thing that's in the cupboard but it's not worth it. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's so worth going all in. And I am one of those people that are an all or nothing person, but I think it's definitely been helpful, because I feel like if I hadn't, the results, even though that's taken 18 months, and I know that might sound like a long time, but it didn't take long before I started getting little wins. And those little wins were big enough. And I don't think they would have come through as quickly as they did if I was like 60% in, 40% out, Yeah. So it's been worth it. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Oh, hello. Thank you. My dog is like, you see the little paw?
So happy. Like, Mom.
What? Well, okay. All right. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. I hope it inspires you to continue to lead your health journey with curiosity. Apologies for the recording ending somewhat abruptly. My dog was scratching me to go out. But anyway, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please take care of your wonderful self and this incredible human body that you were gifted. It is well worth the fight wherever you are on your healing journey. Stay with it, nourish deeply, and sleep well.